Stephen Hawking. He was born on 8 January 1942 and he died in 14 March 2018. Stephen Hawking was a British scientist, professor, and author who had done groundbreaking work in physics and cosmology. Groundbreaking means a new theory, and whose books have helped to make science accessible to everyone. Accessible means the people can read those books and understand. Otherwise, the study of cosmology is very difficult for common man. At the age of 21, while studying cosmology at the University of Cambridge, he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. So he suffered from ALS. Part of his life story was depicted, means shown in the 2014 film. The film was The Theory of Everything. Over the years, Stephen Hawking has written or co-written a total of 15 books. Written individually, and co-written means along with one or two other authors. So few books he had co-authored. A few of the most noteworthy include the books The Grand Design, second book The Universe in a Nutshell, and the third is The Theory of Everything. In 1988, Hawking catapulted to international prominence. Catapulted means suddenly shot to fame. He became very famous all of a sudden. And that too at international level. Prominent means very powerful. So he became internationally known with the publication of A Brief History of Time. So he became famous because of the publication of the book, A Brief History of Time. The short informative book became an account of cosmology for the masses and offered an overview of space and time, the existence of God and the future. Common man will not understand cosmology. Cosmology is the study of the universe. So when he wrote this book, it was in very simple, understandable language. The common man was also able to understand scientific principles. The work was an instant success. Spending more than 4 years atop the London Study Times bestseller list. So for 4 years, it was on the top of the bestseller list. So there was a list of books which were famous, which had become famous, and this book was topping it. The Brief History of Time. It was the topper in all the different books which were published. Since its publication, it has sold millions of copies worldwide. So millions of copies of The Brief History of Time have been sold worldwide, everywhere. And that has been translated into more than 40 languages. The book has become so popular that it has been translated into 40 languages. A Brief History of Time wasn't as easy to understand as some had hoped. People had hoped that they will be able to understand. So most of the people have not understood The Brief History of Time. So in 2001, Hawking followed up his book with The Universe in a Nutshell. Followed up his book means he wrote another book on the same subject, and he titled the book The Universe in a Nutshell. This book offered a more illustrated guide to cosmology's big theories. So it offered illustrated means there were diagrams, there were pictures drawn so that people can understand what is cosmology and what are the big theories in it. In 2005, Hawking authored the even more accessible means even more easily understood, which could be easily understood, A Brief History of Time. This was the new book which he had written again in 2005, which further simplified the original work's core concepts. So core concepts are the basic concepts in the original work which the people were unable to understand. So he simplified the original work and brought it in the form of a brief history of time. It also touched upon the newest developments in the field like string theory. So string theory was not there earlier. It was not proposed by anyone. So now that after the string theory was published, this was also included in the briefer history of time. Together, these three books, along with Hawking's own research and papers, articulate the physicist's personal search for science's holy grail. Articulate means they show the physicist's personal search. So he is personally doing the research for science's holy grail. Holy grail is a thing which is sought after. Sought after means after you are trying to achieve it, to find it out. A single unifying theory. So he was in search of a single unifying theory, a theory which could combine cosmology. What is cosmology? It is the study of the big or the universe. And so he wanted to combine that study with quantum mechanics. What is quantum mechanics? It is the study of the small or maybe at atomic level. And he wanted to explain how the universe began. It was this kind of ambitious thinking. Ambitious means having desire to study more. So that was his ambitious thinking that allowed Hawking to lay out some big possibilities for humankind. So what are the big possibilities? Understanding the universe. So he laid out the big possibilities for humankind, for the people in general. Hawking claims to think in 11 dimensions. We can think at the most in 1 or 2 dimensions, or maybe in 3 dimensions. But Hawking, he claims that he can think in 11 dimensions. So 11 thoughts together at the same time. He is convinced that time travel is possible. He feels that it is possible to travel back in time. Suppose you travel, now you are 15 years of age. Suppose you travel back, say 12 years. So you will find yourself to be 3 years old. You will be shaking hands and you will be playing with small kids. So that is traveling back in time. So you will be again 3 years old. That is traveling back in time. Suppose you travel back in time by 20 years. So you will not be there. Your father may not have married even. Your father and mother may not have even married. So that is the traveling back in time. That humans may indeed colonize. The second second thing which he said was, humans may colonize other planets in the future. So colonizing other planets means people from here, from the earth, will leave Earth and go on and settle on, say, Mars or Jupiter, Uranus, which are the other planets. So this may be possible in the near future. That's what he's claiming. In September 2010, Hawking spoke against the idea that God could have created the universe. So he wrote in one of the books, the name of the book was The Grand Design. In this book, he mentions that there is no need of any God. The idea of God is just an idea. There is no God at all. So God has not created the universe. That's what he tried to tell in the book The Grand Design. Hawking previously argued that belief in a creator could be compatible with modern scientific theories. So earlier he thought that God is there. It is compatible. The idea of God is compatible with the modern scientific theories. Means God is also there, scientific theories are also possible. But now in his new book, he concluded that Big Bang was the inevitable consequence of the laws of physics and nothing more. So first of all, let us understand what is Big Bang. Big Bang theory states that there was nothing 15 billion years ago. Absolutely nothing. Then all of a sudden there was a big bang and matter and energy got created in a very short period of time, and all the matter and energy spread everywhere. It was a single point, even smaller than a dot, is smaller than a full stop, from which the whole universe began. So this is the theory of Big Bang. And in his new work, in The Grand Design, Stephen Hawking says that there is no need of any God. The Big Bang was inevitable. Inevitable means unavoidable. It was going to happen. Why was it going to happen? Because it is the consequence of laws of physics and nothing more. So the laws of physics, they are true, and because of the laws of physics, the Big Bang was inevitable, unavoidable, and so it happened. Because there is a law such as gravity. The law of gravity is there, and because of the law of gravity, the Big Bang has occurred, and so the matter and energy got created. So the universe can and will create itself from nothing. Hawking said, spontaneous creation is the reason there is something rather than nothing, why the universe exists, why we exist. So according to him, the universe was a spontaneous creation, nothing more than that. And it is all because of the law of gravity. And that is why the universe exists and we also exist. The Grand Design was Hawking's first major publication in almost a decade. So in 10 years period, that was the major, means a very big publication. Within his new work, Hawking set out to challenge Sir Isaac Newton's belief that the universe had to have been designed by God, simply because it could not have been born from chaos. So it was a different opinion of how the universe got created. Hawking said that there is no need for God to design the universe, and Newton believed that it was designed by God, because Newton believed that the universe cannot be born from chaos, means it cannot be born from nothing. So God is required to create the universe. That is according to Newton. But according to Stephen Hawking, God is not required. The laws of physics themselves make it possible for the matter to create. It is not necessary to invoke God. To invoke God means to pray to God. To do what? To light the blue touch paper. To light the blue touch paper means to do something which causes excitement, the excitement of the universe, to set the universe going. So that is the meaning of to light the blue touch paper, to set the universe going. So there is no need of God. You need not pray to God to this to happen. This is going to happen without the help from God. The universe will go on progressing without the help of God. At the age of 21, Stephen Hawking was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. Diagnosed means they detected the disease in him. And what was the disease? Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, in short ALS. That is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, because Lou Gehrig was the person who for the first time described this disease. He came across this disease and he said this is the type of the disease. In a very simple sense, so what happens in this disease is the nerves that control the muscles, they were shutting down, they were dying. If the nerves are not there, then they will not be able to control the muscles, and so it was not possible for him to make any movement of the muscles. At the time, doctors gave him 2.5 years to live. At that time, at the age of 21, the doctors told that he may live only 2.5 years, not more than that, and he will die. Hawking first began to notice problems with his physical health while he was at Oxford. On occasion, he would trip and fall or slur his speech. On occasion means sometimes. He would trip. Trip means fall down. Or slur his speech. Slur means unable to speak properly. He didn't look into the problem until 1963. So he neglected his problem till 1963. During his first year at Cambridge, so he was at Cambridge and it was his first year at Cambridge. For the most part, Hawking had kept these symptoms to himself. For the most part means for the longer period of time, Hawking had kept the symptoms to himself, means he did not speak about his symptoms to the others. But when his father took notice of the condition, means his father saw him falling down or maybe unable to control his hands, so he took his son to see a doctor. For the next 2 weeks, the 21-year-old student made his home at a medical clinic. So now for 2 weeks he had to stay at the medical clinic, where he underwent a series of tests. So he had to undergo a series of tests at the clinic. They took a muscle sample from his arm, stuck electrodes into him, and injected some radio-opaque fluid into his spine. So if that opaque, radio-opaque fluid is injected into the spinal column, his backbone, and they watched it going up and down with X-rays. With the X-ray machine, they could watch it as they tilted the bed. So they had to tilt the bed, sometimes head down, sometimes head up and legs down. So they have to tilt with Hawking sleeping on the bed. He once said, after all that, they didn't tell me what I had. except that it was not multiple sclerosis. So the doctors, they did not tell Hawking what had happened, what is wrong, what was wrong with him. They did not tell him, except that it was not multiple sclerosis. So they did not tell him anything, but they told him that he was not suffering from multiple sclerosis, and that he was an atypical case. So it was totally a different type of case. That is what the doctors told him. Eventually, however, doctors did diagnose Hawking with the early stages of ALS. So doctors were finally able to diagnose Hawking's condition, and they said that it was the early stage of ALS. It was devastating news for him and his family. Devastating means a very sad news which shook him from with the news, bad news. He was shaken. But a few events prevented him from becoming completely despondent. Despondent means losing all courage and hope. So there were few events which prevented him from becoming hopeless. The first of these came while Hawking was still in the hospital. There he shared a room with a boy suffering from leukemia. Leukemia is a disease of the bone marrow. It is cancer of bone marrow. Relative to what his roommate was going through, Hawking later reflected his situation seemed more tolerable. So Hawking, when he saw that other boy suffering from more severe disease, he thought his condition was not so very serious. So that event prevented him from becoming despondent. So he was not without any hopes now. He still had hopes. Not long after he was released from the hospital, Hawking had a dream that he was going to be executed. He said this dream made him realize that there were still things to do with his life. Executed means somebody giving a statement of a death sentence. So he was to be executed, to be hanged till death. He said this dream made him realize that there were still things to do with his life. So instead of getting so after this dream, he realized that there were still things in his life that he could do. In a sense, Hawking's disease helped him become the noted scientist he is today. Just because of the disease, he took up study more, and just because he was bedridden, always on the bed, he could study and contribute more to the science. Before the diagnosis, Hawking hadn't always focused on his studies. So before he was diagnosed for the disease, he did not focus too much on studies. Now, just because he was unable to move, even to walk, so he had to be on his wheelchair only, and he had lot of time for his studies. Before my condition was diagnosed, I had been very bored with life. So this is a really an opposite condition. So far as he was in a good health, he was getting bored with life. Now, after the diagnosis, after his condition became worse, he thought that there is nothing, is there anything worth doing? So he thought that he should do his PhD, with the certain realization that he might not even live long enough to earn his PhD. So he thought now he has a very little time. So he started studying more and more and doing research more and more to earn his PhD. Hawking poured himself into his work and research. He was deeply involved in his research now. As physical control over his body diminished or became less, he had to use wheelchair. The effects of his disease started to slow down. Over time, however, Hawking's ever expanding career was accompanied by an ever worsening physical state. So his career went on expanding, but his physical condition became worse by day. By the mid 1970s, the Hawking family had taken in one of Hawking's graduate students to help manage his care and work. So Hawking's family decided to uh, take the help of the graduate students there in Oxford. He could still feed himself and get out of bed. By this time, he was able to have his own food and get out of the bed, but virtually everything else required assistance. Other things required the help of others. For doing any other thing, he required the help of the people. In addition, his speech had become increasingly slurred. So his speech became slurred. The people were unable to understand what he is speaking, so that only those who knew him well could understand him. In 1985, he lost his voice for good following a tracheotomy. Tracheotomy is an operation where that part of the body, that windpipe, is removed. The resulting situation required 24-hour nursing care for the acclaimed physicist. So now he had to be under the care of a nurse for all the 24 hours. It also put in peril Hawking's ability to do with his work. To put in peril means to make it difficult, very difficult, to do his work. The predicament caught the attention of a California computer programmer. So because of this condition, the computer programmer from California, he developed a speaking program that could be directed by head or eye movement. So with the movement of his eyes, he could try to speak with the help of the computer. The invention allowed Hawking to select words on a computer screen that were there, then passed through a speech synthesizer. So in that invention, he had to look on the text on the screen of the computer, and that could be synthesized from text to speech, and this is how he was able to speak. At the time of its introduction, Hawking, who still had use of his fingers, selected his words with handheld clicker. So he made use of the handheld clicker to select his words. So he was able to select the words, and with those words he was able to express what he wanted to tell. Now, With virtually all control of his body gone, Hawking directs the program through a cheek muscle attached to a sensor. So now all the body movements are have been stopped because of his physical condition. So Hawking started directing the program through a cheek muscle attached to a sensor. So a sensor was attached to his cheek muscle, and with the movement of the cheek muscle, he now uh, he could communicate with the other people through the program and the help of assistants. Stephen Hawking has continued to write at a prolific rate. So, with all those difficulties, he is still able to write with the assistance of the people over there, and he has become a writer at a prolific rate. Prolific means a tremendous speed. His work has included numerous scientific papers, of course, but also information for the non scientific community. So, his papers included scientific papers of a high quality and also papers for the non scientific community so that they are able to understand it. Hawking's health, of course, remains a constant concern, a worry that was heightened in 2009 when he failed to appear at a conference in Arizona because of a chest infection. So his condition went on becoming worse by the day, and in 2009 he was unable to appear at a conference in Arizona because he had a chest infection. In April, Hawking, who had already announced his was retiring after 30 years from the post of Lucasian Professor of Maths at Cambridge, was rushed to the hospital for being what university officials described as gravely ill. So he was to retire after 30 years from the post of professor of mathematics. Now, in April, he had to be rushed to the hospital. Why? Because he was gravely ill. It was later announced that he was expected to make a full recovery. But after this condition, it was announced that he was going to make a full recovery.